Hello, I'm Will, this is Mike with the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And in this video we're bringing you issue 10 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer magazine. This issue came with the models for Xandire's Truthseekers, the warband. As usual, we'll have a look through the magazine first, and then we'll see what they can do in our battle report. So we'll start with a look through the issue. So first off, we have some more general backstory on the Stormcast Eternals and their purpose. So Sigmar's ultimate goal is the liberation of the mortal realms from all of the forces that oppress the people there, and the Stormcast Eternals are his primary way of doing that, the vanguard of his forces that can accomplish great deeds with their martial might. But they also seek to forge alliances and lead Sigmar's other followers in battle, because the Stormcast Eternals are limited in number, and it's going to take the bravery of all of the inhabitants to purge the realms of their opponents. And so in this, yes, they have to fight the forces of destruction and chaos and death wherever they may be found. But now we have the backstory for Xandire's Truthseekers. So these three plus their bird companion Dhoraz have been given a special mission by Sigmar to investigate some disappearances in Ghur, the realm of shadow, but in doing so their quest takes them across the mortal realms. So there's a table here you can roll on to see why they've joined your forces in this particular instance. And also, and on the next page, another table, see what tactics they'll be using, being highly skilled warriors. And now their build guide, they're very simple to put together. They're all pushed together miniatures. So there was Xandire on the first page, and then the other three here. Well, they do be a little bit careful with Luxa Stormrider. Her bow is a bit fragile, so be careful when you're cutting that off the sprue. And their painting guide, so they're obviously just Stormcast Eternals, they'll be painted the same way as all our other models so far. But Dhoraz the bird, it suggests undercoating Corax white instead, because it's going to be mostly pale colours. So we've got gold and blue and metal colour here, and then white for their bases, which will be painted grey later, I imagine. And also Catachan flesh for brown bits, leather and wood. And the wings of the bird, I suggest painting blue as well. Being a magical creature of Aesir, it doesn't have to look like a normal bird of our world. And there they are up to this point, so we're ready to add some more colours later. But now I'll hand you over to Mike, so we'll be learning their war scroll and getting into our game.
So we have a few new rules to learn, but before that we are learning some more of the quirks of War Scrolls and unit abilities. So we've seen War Scrolls quite a few times up to this point, and so we have to see the one for the Vindictors and Xandire's Truthseekers down the bottom there. And just going over what unit abilities are, these are usually listed below a unit's weapons, and they're different abilities or maybe items or companions that are with a unit. You can see the Vindictors of their Stormstar Arsenal, that gives them mortal wounds if they roll a 6 to hit. And you see Xandire's Truthseekers has a companion, Dhoraz the bird, and blazing arrows, which means that Luxa Stormrider's bow shots also do mortal wounds if she rolls a 6 to hit. And then on the next page we have clarifications on companions. So these are the various assistants or pets or lackeys that some of our heroes have had. So we've got the Lord Imperitance Gryph-hound, the Pot Grot and the Stab Grot as well. They're just going over how exactly they work. They have to stay near their master. They move with their master all times, but they don't actually take any wounds. You just put wound markers on the master, and then when the master dies, the companion is automatically removed. And also they essentially count as one model, so in that picture the Vindictors are within an inch of that Stab Grot, or the killer boss is assumed to be within an inch as well. And we also have rules for certain special models that often appear in units. So the most common one probably is the Champion. This is essentially the unit leader. So we have the Medictor Prime and the Gut Ripper boss and the Hobgrot boss and so on. Models like this often give the unit extra abilities or have extra abilities themselves, and most often the case for Champions is that they get an extra melee attack. So the Gut Ripper boss and the Medictor Prime both get an extra attack, so they have 3 each. We also have other common special models are Standard Bearers and Musicians. Different ways of inspiring their unit, and if the model with the instrument or the standard dies, you do lose whatever ability they give. So for example, the Noisemaker there allows the Hobgrots to run and shoot in the same turn, but if he's dead, they cannot do that anymore, so you want to make sure that those special models are removed last when the unit is taking casualties. And sometimes units or models will have special weapons. So in the case of Xandire's Truthseekers, they're a unit of 3 models, but each one has a unit of 4 models, if you include Dhoraz. But each have separate weapons. It notes it down there. Calthia Xandire has a broadsword, Dhoraz Giantfell has his great hammer, while Luxa Stormrider has her bow, and the bow stave is a melee weapon, and then Dhoraz has his beak and talons. And so normally if a unit has is all armed with the same weapon, you can just roll their attacks together. But if you have multiple weapons, you can usually often decide the order in which they're done, although there are some cases, like say if a unit is mounted, you usually have to do the rider's attacks first. And a unit can split its attacks between whatever's in range, so in the example there, the 3 Stormcast members of Xandire's Truthseekers can attack those Gut Rippers, while Taros can go after those Hobgrots because they're within his 3-inch weapon range. So we can get into today's game, Martial Mastery. So Xandire's Truthseekers have arrived in the Realm of Beasts to investigate these arcane ruins alongside the Knight Arcanum. Unfortunately, there is a force of cruel boys in their way, so they'll have to be removed first. So we have the Knight Arcanum, Breya Starfang and Xandire's Truthseekers facing off against Golmrog the Great and Stugit, as well as the Hobgrots and the Gut Rippers. And we have our battle mat there, so Xandire's Truthseekers and the Knight Arcanum start so we're basically in the middle of the board, with the Gut Rippers and Hobgrots at the top and bottom, and then they're directly opposite the Swamp Caller Shaman. And the game's just going to last for 5 battle rounds, and whoever, if one side gets wiped out, the other side wins. If both sides have models left by the end of the 5th battle round, then the game is a draw. So we have our wall scrolls for the units available. We have the Knight Arcanum, so she's exactly the same as she was in the previous issue, so she can still only cast Mystic Shield in the hero phase, although apparently she wounds on 3s now. Sure, it was 4s in the previous issue. Then we have Xandire's Truthseekers, you saw before, so they have a 5-inch move. They have 5 wounds each, which is pretty beefy, and a 3+ save. And then, as I said before, they've each got different weapons, so Calthia Xandire has a broadsword, Luxa Stormrider has her bow as a missile weapon and as a melee weapon, which has a different profile. And then Dhoraz Giantfell has his hammer, and Taros is the companion of Luxa Stormrider, so he has to stay within an inch of her, and they count as a single model together. And Luxa Stormrider has her blazing arrows, which means if she rolls a 6 to hit with her bow in the shooting phase, she does 2 mortal wounds instead of rolling to wound as normal. And the Stormcast will be going first in this game, so the turn sequence is much the same as we've had so far. Just remember that Luxa Stormrider has her bow she can shoot with, so remember to shoot with it. And it gives you an example turn where the Stormcast units are basically splitting off to go after a different unit. So the Knight Arcanum's going after the Hobgrots, while the Xandire's Truthseekers are going after the Gut Rippers. And then we have the war scrolls for the Cruel Boys unit. So the Swamp Caller Shaman is exactly the same as the previous game, and the Gut Rippers have their champion, so Murkai is getting an extra attack, and the Hobgrot Soldiers have their champion, so Rak will be getting an extra attack with his Slitter Knife. They also have the Musician, which is the noisemaker, so that they can run and still shoot. And then the turn sequence for the Cruel Boys is much the same as it has been in the previous games. So we'll get the board set up, get straight into the game. So here we have the board set up. So I've got Rak's Bane Slitters down here, the Hobgrots. Got Golmrog the Great and Stugit, the Swamp Caller Shaman and Hobgrot. And up at the top there are Murkai Storm Chasers, the Gut Rippers. And then we have Calthia Xandire and her Truthseekers. And then tucked in behind Taros is Breya Starfang, the Knight Arcanum. And the Stormcast get to go first. So we're into Stormcast turn 1.
So we start with the hero phase. I'll try and cast Mystic Shield with the Knight Arcanum, needing a 5 on 2 dice, that's a 6.
Yeah, so Golmrog might as well try and unbind that, he's definitely within 30 inches, and he needs to roll a 7 or higher. No.
So in the movement phase, I've done roughly what they suggested in the scenario, which is that the Truthseekers are going to go after the Gut Rippers. I put Mystic Shield on them as well. Breya Starfang is going to go for the Hobgrots, because they're a little bit less scary in melee. So then we're on to the shooting phase, where Luxa Stormrider can shoot her bow. I think we're going to shoot it at Golmrog the Shaman, because he's out in the open. She's a good archer, so she has 3 shots. They hit on 2s. And 6s will do mortal wounds, but there's no 6s and a miss. And then wounding on 3s. 2 wounds though, with Ren -2.
So no save. Shaman only has a 5+ base, so he takes 4 damage and he's down to 2.
So then we're on to the charge phase. So we'll start declaring a charge with Xandire's Truthseekers. Their charge roll is a 7, that'll be enough to get into the Gut Rippers. And I'll roll for Breya Starfang as well, see where she can go. 5 might not be enough. Yep, so 5 was just enough, so Breya Starfang has gone into the Hobgrots, and Xandire's Truthseekers have gone into the Gut Rippers. And I think I'll pick them to fight first, because the Gut Rippers do mortal wounds, so better try and cut down the number of attacks coming at me. So we'll start with Xandire's Broadsword, which has 5 attacks, which hit on 3s. She fails to hit at all, oh well.
I mean, on the model, her sword isn't drawn, so it must be stuck in the scabbard.
Moving on to Dhoraz Giantfell's Great Hammer. Moving on to Dhoraz Giantfell's Great Hammer. 3 attacks which hit on 3s. He can hit, so we've got 2. And they wound on 3s. And we've got 2 wounds, which...
-3, so that's 4 damage. That'll kill 2.
And then finally we've got Luxa Stormrider's bowstave and Taros's beak and claws, which are all the same rolls to hit and wound, so I'll do them all together. So 5 attacks in total, hitting on 3s. They all hit, and they win on 4s. Just 2, with no rend.
So we got a 5+ save for the Gut Rippers. Didn't make either, so that's another dead. So that's 3 dead Gut Rippers in total. So I'll just take away the ones that are furthest away from the Truthseekers. And then I'll pick the Hobgrots to go because the Night Arcanum hasn't attacked yet. So I can pile in all the Hobgrots to attack her, and I get 21 attacks because Rack's there with his extra attack. So 21 attacks from the Hobgrots, hitting on 4s. Only got 10 hits, wounding on 5s. Whoa, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wounds.
So we've got 6 3+ saves, which we failed 3, so she's down to 3 wounds. But then she gets to fight back, so she's got 3 attacks hitting on 3s. She only hit once. Apparently she wounds on 3s today, according to her war scroll. It should probably be 4, even though it was 4s previously. Oh well, I rolled a 3, so it does wound.
No save, because you got red -1.
So D3 damage. She kills 3.
Oh, 3 dead Hobgrots. So I've only got the Gut Rippers to go, and I've piled them in already, so I can get them all on the Truthseekers. So we've got 15 attacks hitting on 4s, 6s doing mortal wounds. So we've got 2 mortal wounds and 7 regular hits that wound on 4s, getting 3.
So we've got a 2+ save because they've got Mystic Shield. 2 1s. So actually with the mortal wounds in as well, that will be 4 damage. So, well, they do have 5 wounds each, so Dhoraz giant fella is just going to take 4 wounds and go down to 1.
That is it for the Stormcast turn. On to Crawboy's turn 1. And in my hero phase, Gormrog the Great's going to try and cast Arcane Bolt. He needs a 5. He gets it with a 5.
Yeah, but prior staffing, well, the Night Arcanum is in range to my mind, so we need more than that. Yes, a 9.
Yeah, so Arcane Bolt is not cast. The only movement in my movement phase is Gormrog moving towards the Truthseekers. I want the Hobgrots to stay in combat so that they can throw their grenades at the Night Arcanum. So we've got 7 grenade throws from the Hobgrots. They're looking for 4s. We got 5 hits, looking for 3s to wound. That's 4 wounds with rend -1.
So I need 4s. Oh, I only failed 1, so she's got 2 wounds left.
So in my charge phase, Gormrog is going to try and charge the Truthseekers. Now he gets in. Only needed a 3. So Gormrog's going to finish his charge like that, getting within half an inch of Taros so that the 2 scary melee ones can't get near him. So in the fight phase, I'm actually going to pick the Gut Rippers to fight first, see if I can finish off Dhoraz Giant Fell. 15 attacks, looking for 4s, 6s do mortal wounds. So we've got 4 mortal wounds and then 4 regular hits that wound on 4s, getting 1 more.
I still got a 2+ save, which I made, so just 4 mortal wounds.
So there, Dhoraz Giant Fell is slain. Luxa Stormrider's wounded, and now it's the Stormcast pick.
I'm going to pick the Night Arcanum because they could kill her down there, and she's quite handy to have around. So 3 attacks on 3s, hit twice this time, and wounding on 3s. Just 1. No rend.
No save.
No save because of the rend, so only kill 1.
Down to 6 Hobgrots. Well, I'm going to pick Gormrog to go next. Gormrog's got 2 attacks that hit on 3s, getting 1 hit. Hit wounds on a 3. Yeah, it does.
It has rend -1, so I've got a 3+ save with Mystic Shield. Oh dear, failed.
D3 damage. 1. Knocks the Stormrider down to 1. Then Stugit with his backup stabber. 2 attacks hitting on 4s, getting a hit. Wounds on 4. Yeah, it does.
2+. Yes. So I've just got the Truthseekers to go. Xandire is going to go for the Gut Rippers, but Luxa Stormrider and Taros are both going to put their attacks on the Shaman. So we do Xandire on the Gut Rippers. Hey, she hit 5 times this time.
Managed to draw her sword.
And she wounds on 3s. She got 3 wounds with the rend of -1.
So 3 6s looking for. Oh, we made 1. Only 2 dead Gut Rippers.
And then we've got the beaks and the bowstave on Gormrog the Great, hitting on 3s and wounding on 4s. 2 wounds, no rend though.
2 5+ saves, got to make 1 to live. He did, he's down to 1. So 2 dead Gut Rippers. And I've only got the Hobgrots left, see if they can finish off the Night Arcanum. They've got 13 attacks hitting on 4s. There we go. Only 5 hits, wounding on 5s. 2 wounds.
2 3+ saves. Fail 1, down to 1.
But that's it for the Crawboy's turn. On to Stormcast turn 2.
Start by trying to cast Mystic Shield again in the hero phase. 5, getting a 6 again.
Gormrog trying to unbind, needing a 7. Yeah, he unbound it this time.
I'm not going to retreat anybody in the movement phase, so in the shooting phase, Luxa Stormrider, she's going to shoot the Gut Rippers this time. Storm 2s, they will hit, and wounding all 3s. No, just 1, but he does have -2 rend and 2 damage.
1 to Gut Ripper, down to 4.
And I think we'll fight with the Truthseekers first in the fight phase, because they might be able to kill most of this. We'll do the same division of attacks as last time. Xandire on the Gut Rippers on 3s, they will hit, and 3s. 3 wounds.
3 6+ saves again. Didn't make any this time, so we're down to just Murk-Eye.
On Gomrog from the other stuff, and they will hit. And 4s. And 2 wounds again.
2 5+s. Oh, he only made 1, so he is killed. Juliet presumably flees. Well, I'm going to pick the Hobgrots to go, see if they can finish off the Knight Arcanum. 13 attacks on 4s. 8 hits, wounding on 5s. 2
3+ saves, got to make both to live. No, failed, so she goes down as well.
So only Murk-Eye of the Storm Chasers, the last of the Storm Chasers, is left to fight. He has 3 attacks, hitting on 4, 6s do a mortal wound. He got a mortal wound and a hit, and the hit wounded.
3+ save, yes. So just 1 mortal wound, but they will kill Luxa Stormrider, and we take away Taros as well.
Leaving just Calthia Xandire face off against the remaining Crawl Boys as we head into Crawl Boys turn 2. So the Hobgrots are going to move up to get in range of Calthia Xandire and then throw grenades at her. 6 attacks on 4s. 4 hits, wounding on 3s. 2 wounds, and -1.
2 4+ saves, failed 1, down to 4.
So in the charge phase, the Hobgrots are going to try and charge. Their roll is a 7, that's definitely going to be enough to get them in. So the Hobgrots finish their charge, and I've also piled them in because I'm going to pick them to fight first, so that I'm surrounding Calthia Xandire so that she can't get towards Murk-Eye, hopefully help him live another turn. We've got 13 attacks hitting on 4s, 8 hits, wounding on 5s. Oh, didn't get any. No.
So now I can pick Xandire to go, but she can only attack the Hobgrots because she cannot pile in to get within her 1-inch weapon range of Murk-Eye, unfortunately. We just have to kill some Grots. We've got 5 attacks on 3s. 3 times, and wounding on 3s. Well, 2, but that's 4 dead Grots because no save.
Yeah, the damage spills over. So I'll leave just Rack and the Noisemaker, the only living Hobgrots, but luckily they lived, so that means Murk-Eye can still stay out of range. I will pile him in a smidge just to make sure he is in range. 3 attacks from Murk-Eye, looking for 4s and 6s do mortal wounds. Well, he got a mortal wound and no hits. So Calthia Xandire down to 3 wounds as we head into Stormcast turn 3.
So I won't retreat or anything, we'll go straight to the combat phase, where once again Xandire has to hit the Hobgrots because she can't pile in close enough. 3s again, and 3s, yeah, 3. That's 6 damage.
So they're definitely gone. So Xandire, Calthia finishes off the Hobgrots, but Murk-Eye still gets to go. 3 attacks from Murk-Eye, 4s and 6s. He got a regular hit this time, no mortal wounds. He wounded though.
3+, yes, no damage.
And we're straight to the Cruel Boys turn, where Murk-Eye is going to stand and fight, no running away here. Straight to the fight phase where he gets to go again. Oh, he missed!
Oh dear. He suddenly realises he's in trouble.
Uh-oh.
So there's nothing to impede Xandire from piling in now, so she can do that, get herself within weapon range. And 5 attacks on 3s. Well, I only hit twice. Wounding on 3s. Oh, 2 wounds though. 1.
Double 6 to live. No. Murk-Eye goes down. So that is the last of the Cruel Boys. That is a Stormcast victory. Possibly a bit of a Pyrrhic one. Killed 3 great heroes there. So here we can see the results of a Stormcast victory. Now that all the Cruel Boys are gone, they can safely examine these arcane ruins. And it says through either magic or the might of Xandire's Truthseekers. I think it was the latter in this case. We'll leave the gameplay there and then recap the game for you now. So that was the game for issue 10 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer magazine. How do you think that went?
Well, obviously I won, so it wasn't too bad in the end, despite some incompetence, like Xandire forgetting to draw her sword in the first round of combat, and the Knight Arcanum not really being very good, to be honest. So, I think that's just because the models managed to pull it through despite some bad rolling. So they're obviously quite powerful.
We did start filming, and the first shot of the game from Luxa Stormrider was a 666 on Gomrog. Instant killed him. So we decided to start again. Just we thought that might be a bit unbalanced, but in the grand scheme of things, Gomrog did 1 wound over the course of the game, I think.
Yeah, I wasn't too worried about him, at least while I had a wizard to unbind Marking Bolt.
Yeah, he didn't get managed to cast it. So.
Yeah, it wasn't too much of a threat. And even then, I got so many wounds in the Truthseekers that I wasn't too worried about it, and his melee capability is not great.
Yeah, I did consider to charge him at all. And the Hobgrots had a decent game, at least.
Yeah, the Night Cannon theoretically can splat quite a lot of them a turn, but she wasn't really on point at this stage, despite the fact that she was allowed to wound on 3s in this game, because I think they either made a mistake in her War Scroll, or maybe they did that deliberately to make her a bit better, but it's a little bit strange to have her keep changing characteristics all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, realistically, I would probably expect Xandire's Truthseekers to make short work of the Gut Rippers. Even just Xandire on her own shouldn't have trouble. She probably wouldn't kill all of them. If she was just her against all 10 of them, I think she'd lose, but she'd certainly take a lot of them down with her. I pretty could talk straight about Xandire's Truthseekers. See, they're originally an Underworld warband, which is sort of an offshoot, a spin-off game, and often Underworld's warbands are fairly mediocre. They're usually just a slight variant of an existing unit, or usually not very tough, so they don't have much impact on the game. But when I saw 5 wounds for Xandire's Truthseekers, I actually thought that was a typo and had to look up their rules. So they are, for an Underworld warband, they're actually pretty scary.
Yeah, if you have a look at our Mortal Realms coverage, we had 3 Underworld warbands and they were all not really that exciting. It was usually just not worth taking them because there weren't as many models in the unit, so they just died quicker. But these guys are like all individual heroes, basically, and their damage output is actually quite impressive. So, I mean, for Luxa Stormrider, for example, I think she'll be able to do things like she did, pick off heroes throughout a game, which she's got really long range and really powerful shooting.
She is absolutely ideal for sniping wizards and things.
Yeah, or other small things that don't have many wounds, or even just shooting dead a few models a turn.
Yeah, even shooting at Hobgrots, she could probably kill off on 4 at least.
I think Dhoraz Giantfell is possibly the least useful, at least with the models we have at the moment, because he's got really high rend on his hammer, -3, but that's actually not that much use against things with low armor save.
Yeah, he'd be good against the killer boss.
Yeah, he would. So he's going to be good. Yeah, he'll be good for smashing up slightly tougher things. And then Xandire just has quite a lot of attacks that are quite good. Quite a lot of high strength attacks.
Yeah, and they do have some extra rules, like the Lantern does have an effect. And I think Dhoraz Giantfell has a mortal wound thing similar to Luxa Stormrider.
Yes, we'll probably find out about those later. And then, of course, we should mention Taros the Bird, who mainly just has a long-range weapon in melee, so he can. But because he doesn't have his own wounds, it's not like he's a particular at risk in the unit or anything.
I mean, he is an Aetherwing, and you can get units of Aetherwings, and I would say that he is better than them. Purely his stat line's better. And also, I would actually say his model is better because he is nowhere near as flimsy feeling as those Aetherwings were. Although he's a bit smaller as well, weirdly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really cool models. They're really easy to put together, easy to build ones. They're great for like D&D or Pathfinder if you do that. They're good heroic looking characters. That is one of the good things about the Underworld warbands. They all look really good. And also they're out of print. I think they're in the Harrow Deep set or an expansion to that. So I think they are technically out of print, or they could probably find them on eBay. So getting them for £10 is a really good price as well. And we did learn new rules for special models in a unit. So champions and standard bearers and musicians are sort of the 3 default ones. There are other special models within units that we'll see in future games as well. Like say, sometimes a unit might have a unit leader that's a wizard, that sort of thing. But we'll learn more unit abilities. We have seen unit abilities already. We're just sort of learning officially about them.
Yeah. And it's not that much of a big deal to have an extra attack, especially on like the Hobgrots. But yeah, I don't think any of these unit leaders are particularly interesting, but sometimes we'll get some that are slightly better.
Most often a champion will have an extra melee attack. Sometimes it might be an extra ranged attack instead. That would probably be more useful on the Hobgrots. Obviously the Hobgrots have a banner, which we'll learn about in the future as well. And then Noisemaker, I guess, is helpful. Lets them run and shoot. So already a unit that breaks the regular rules. I guess that does make them a bit more mobile, but they're still at short range, and they're still going to die if anything looks at them funny.
Yeah, it still offsets their short range, but it helps offset their short range to get them in range, but then they're still very close to whatever's going to try and attack them back. So,
but otherwise, I don't think there's too much more to say about this game or this issue. So as always, if you like this content, leave a like and subscribe, and leave any comments if you've been playing along. Tell us how you're getting on. What do you think about Calthia Xandire and the Truthseekers and so forth? We've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.